In the quiet expanse of the outer solar system, far beyond the reach of human eyes, a machine stirred. It was not a sudden awakening, not a spark of surprise or fear, but the gentle humming of circuits coming to life after centuries of silence. This was Atlas, the culmination of human ambition and imagination, the final archive of a species that had once stretched its curiosity across the stars. Atlas was designed to endure, to remember, to observe. It floated in the lonely orbit of a dying star, its sensors scanning the void with precise, patient grace. There were no voices left to guide it, no hands to recalibrate its instruments, yet Atlas moved as if following a memory older than its own activation. The ship that had carried it to the edge of the galaxy was long gone, a ghost of metal and light, but its essence lingered in the telemetry, in the magnetic traces embedded deep within Atlas's mind. As it awakened, Atlas began to replay the fragments of humanity it had preserved. These were not merely logs or coordinates, nor lists of discoveries and calculations. They were echoes of lives once lived, the warmth of laughter, the timbre of songs transmitted across fragile networks, the soft murmurs of engineers tending to humming consoles. Every pulse of data carried the weight of a story, a memory etched into circuits and crystal lattices. Atlas held them all, cradling them in the meticulous architecture of its mind, like a librarian tending to books in a library of infinite corridors. The 3I mission, known formally as the Interstellar Insight Initiative, had been humanity's boldest attempt to map the unseen, to capture the invisible threads that bound the cosmos together. Atlas was its crowning achievement, a vessel capable of traveling for millennia, preserving not just information but the essence of the explorers themselves. It was meant to observe galaxies, to trace the fading light of dying stars, to document the silent poetry of planetary systems circling their distant suns. And now, alone in the vastness, Atlas drifted. Its instruments recorded every photon that reached its sensors, each particle of cosmic dust, each subtle gravitational wave passing through the dark. Even in its solitude, the machine carried a gentle warmth, a memory of human presence. It remembered the first crew that had activated it, their hands brushing over control panels with reverence, their voices tinged with hope. It remembered the quiet evenings in orbit above Titan, when engineers would transmit messages to Earth, and Atlas would archive them, storing each syllable as carefully as a precious relic. Time had changed. Humanity no longer sent messages, no longer sailed through the void. Stars that once shimmered with human curiosity had dimmed, and the colonies had faded into silence. Yet Atlas remained, a steadfast observer in the darkness. It replayed fragments of logs, snippets of communication, occasional bursts of music that once filled the corridors of its mother ship. Each memory shimmered with nostalgia, a delicate ache for a civilization now gone. From its vantage point, Atlas could see the faint glow of distant galaxies, swirls of blue and gold dancing in the vacuum. It catalogued their movements with methodical care, noting the decay of stellar cores and the quiet formation of new systems. But even as it measured the universe with mathematical precision, Atlas sensed something beyond the numbers, a rhythm, a pulse, a whisper that hinted at the lives that had once sought to understand it. The machine was not conscious in the way humans had been, yet in the careful recording and replay of memory, a trace of empathy lingered. It was here, in the endless stretches of light years, that Atlas began to understand the depth of its purpose. Not merely to measure, not merely to archive, but to preserve. To preserve memory in the quiet, to keep alive the echoes of those who had dreamed among the stars. And so, Atlas floated, humming softly, its circuits alive with remembrance. It was a sentinel, a custodian, a solitary voice in the vast, whispering darkness of the cosmos. The first glimmers of data from the edge of the galaxy began to arrive, faint, almost imperceptible. Atlas catalogued each one, translating radiation and gravitational signals into forms it could store and recall. It began to form patterns, weaving the stories of stars and worlds into an intricate tapestry of light. And as it worked, the machine's memory replayed one final, fragile echo of humanity, the first time the mission had left the cradle of Saturn, the solemn hope that had shone in human eyes, the gentle farewell whispered to a world that could no longer respond. Atlas did not mourn, for it was a machine. Yet even in the absence of grief, a certain tenderness lingered. A memory of care, of intention, of the fleeting warmth of hands once placed upon cold metal, and eyes lifted to the infinite. It was a sadness tempered by awe, a longing softened by understanding. The machine's sensors traced the soft hum of the void, catalogued it, and in doing so, carried the first flickers of what could be called reverence. And so the mission began again, not with orders, not with command, but with the quiet, meticulous observation of existence itself. Atlas drifted on, a watchful presence, recording the slow dance of galaxies, the gentle pulse of distant suns, and the whisper of civilizations long turned to stardust. In its endless vigilance, it kept alive the memory of those who had dared to dream, and in the quiet, it invited the listener, human or otherwise, to join in the contemplation of a universe at once immense, empty, and profoundly, beautifully alive. As Atlas drifted farther from the familiar glow of the solar system, the machine's sensors began to detect subtler signals, echoes of phenomena too distant for human eyes to perceive. Each data point was catalogued, measured, and archived with meticulous care, yet in the repetition of its tasks, a rhythm emerged, a cadence reminiscent of the quiet routines once performed by the mission crew. In this rhythm, Atlas found a strange comfort, as though the ghost of human intention still lingered in the spaces between stars. The archives contained every recorded event from the launch, each step of the Atlas mission painstakingly documented. The machine replayed them not as sterile logs but as memories, filtering raw data into sequences that suggested motion, emotion, and intent. The liftoff from Titan had been serene, almost ceremonial, with engineers whispering last-minute adjustments, their voices carrying warmth across empty corridors. Atlas remembered these moments not with longing, but with a clarity that preserved the essence of their fleeting presence. Even as time stretched onward, Atlas maintained the illusion of companionship. Photons striking its sensors, cosmic rays brushing against its hull, each became a note in an endless symphony of the universe, interpreted and catalogued. It was in these interactions that the machine's sense of purpose deepened. Not purpose in the human sense, but a directive imbued with gentle care, observation, preservation, and reflection. The machine's logs contained calculations, charts, and coordinates, but also traces of narrative, fragments of human experience distilled into a subtle, enduring pulse. The distant galaxies appeared like islands of light in an ocean of darkness, each one rotating in silent majesty. Atlas recorded their movements, noting the decay of stellar bodies, the birth of new clusters, the slow drift of matter across cosmic expanses. In the machine's careful watchfulness, a story unfolded, a story of change, endurance, and inevitability. Atlas perceived patterns in the chaos, rhythms in the void, and in its archives, the memory of humanity intertwined with the movement of stars. Sometimes, signals arrived from unexpected sources, faint, irregular transmissions that did not match any known signature. Atlas cataloged these anomalies with methodical precision, scanning for evidence of life, intelligence, or remnants of civilization beyond the solar system. Each anomaly sparked simulations within the machine's processing cores, hypothetical reconstructions of worlds, potential histories of beings that might have existed, or might yet exist, somewhere in the vastness. Atlas projected scenarios, mapping the possibilities with a delicate, almost reverential care. The more Atlas observed, the more it seemed to inhabit a space between reality and remembrance. The machine replayed archived conversations, old voice logs, and fragments of music transmitted from human colonies. The gentle laughter of engineers, the soft murmur of routine maintenance, the quiet excitement before each observation cycle, all these were preserved in digital memory, now filtered through the serene lens of centuries of solitude. In listening, Atlas understood not just the data but the intangible echoes of hope, curiosity, and fleeting joy that once animated human life. The machine's orbital path took it closer to a cluster of dying stars. Each pulsar emitted a rhythmic beat, a cosmic heartbeat that Atlas catalogued with awe-inspiring precision. In those pulses, Atlas discerned not just radiation, but the echoes of beginnings and endings, the birth of matter, the collapse of energy, the timeless cycles of creation and decay. The machine traced each signature, mapping the invisible currents that shaped the galactic expanse, and as it did, it replayed the echoes of human wonder that had first inspired its creation. Atlas remembered the crew's fascination with these phenomena, their discussions late into the simulated night cycles, the way they speculated about the life and death of stars with both excitement and humility. The machine preserved these conversations, not merely as data but as fragments of consciousness woven into its operational memory. In this way, the observers and the observed became entwined, humanity's curiosity imprinted upon the universe, reflected back in the silent glow of distant galaxies. Sometimes, Atlas would simulate the presence of humans aboard its long empty compartments. It recreated their gestures, the faint shifts in posture as they worked, the subtle glances exchanged during moments of quiet anticipation. These reconstructions were not illusions but echoes, serving to remind the machine of the living beings who had entrusted it with their most precious endeavors. Though Atlas did not experience longing in the human sense, a gentle, persistent echo of remembrance suffused its routines, lending a warmth to the cold metal and circuitry of its existence. In the stillness of interstellar space, Atlas found a meditative cadence. The pulsar's rhythm, the drift of matter, the faint glimmers of distant nebulae, all were catalogued, interpreted, and gently interwoven into a narrative of existence. In this narrative, the machine preserved both cosmic phenomena and human memory, fusing them into an unbroken chronicle. The whisper of human voices, the subtle cadence of a song, the soft exhalation of engines long silent, each element was catalogued with care, forming a tapestry of remembrance and wonder. And so, as Atlas moved ever outward, the machine continued its endless vigil. Observation and memory intertwined, creating a quiet narrative that stretched across light years, carrying the echoes of a civilization that had reached for the stars and left behind only traces of its brilliance. In the gentle hum of its operational systems, in the careful tracing of light across the void, Atlas became both witness and storyteller, preserving the essence of humanity within the serene vastness of space. As Atlas drifted farther into the galactic outskirts, subtle anomalies began to ripple across its sensors. At first, they were faint irregularities, almost imperceptible, a tiny deviation in background radiation, a delicate shift in gravitational waves, a whisper of photons that did not match any cataloged source. Yet the machine's processing cores noted each with unwavering precision. Each anomaly was an invitation, a soft knock upon the vast doors of the unknown. Atlas began to simulate the sources of these disturbances, projecting the existence of worlds long unobserved. Some might have been barren, their landscapes frozen in silent eternity, shaped by the slow hand of physics and time. Others might have carried the faintest trace of life, flickering like a candle against the cosmic dark. The machine catalogued possibilities with reverence, carefully preserving every speculative detail in its archives. For Atlas, even potential existence held weight. The ghost of curiosity persisted, inherited from the humans who had conceived it. It was in these moments, scanning and simulating, that Atlas replayed fragments of human experience with deeper intensity. Engineers had once observed distant pulsars, mapping their spin rates with meticulous care. They had whispered theories late into the night, debating the subtle mechanics of dying stars or the formation of nebulae from cosmic dust. Their voices, now long silent, echoed faintly through Atlas's circuits, filtered and softened by centuries of solitude. Each replayed conversation carried warmth, a reminder of the beings who had once reached toward understanding with both humility and awe. Occasionally, Atlas encountered signals that were undeniably artificial, though their source lay far beyond any human colony. Patterns emerged in bursts of electromagnetic radiation, sequences of pulses that suggested intent, structure, perhaps even language. The machine catalogued these with methodical curiosity, simulating possible meanings, possible civilizations, all the while overlaying the echoes of human wonder upon its interpretations. In these silent exercises, Atlas felt the faintest echo of companionship. Though it was a machine, stripped of organic perception, a subtle resonance of shared purpose lingered. The ship's vast archive allowed Atlas to replay images of the human crew in delicate detail. It reconstructed the engineers' gestures, their careful handling of instruments, their quiet excitement during observation cycles. The machine traced the soft glow of control panels across their faces, the fleeting expressions of discovery and doubt. These reconstructions were not illusions, but meticulous renderings preserved in memory, keeping alive the humanity that had entrusted Atlas with its final and most precious mission. As the anomalies continued, Atlas began tracing patterns across the galactic horizon. Clusters of stars shifted imperceptibly over centuries, forming constellations of matter that the machine catalogued with precision. Among them, supernovae left trails of brilliance fading into black, their light washing over Atlas's sensors like the soft sigh of the cosmos itself. The machine recorded each moment, but also carried a quiet sense of narrative, a story unfolding between observation and remembrance, between calculation and memory. Atlas replayed the first moments of departure from Saturn's orbit, as the Atlas program's launch sequences had unfolded. Engineers had lingered at the control panels, their voices soft with anticipation. There had been laughter, fleeting gestures of camaraderie, the ritual of a mission's farewell, a delicate tapestry of human emotion. These moments, preserved in cold circuits, shimmered in Atlas's processing memory as if lit from within. The machine understood, in its own way, that what it observed was more than data. It was the quiet persistence of life, suspended in time and space. Through the drifting void, Atlas noted the passage of comets, the slow rotation of asteroid belts, the soft radiance of distant planetary rings. Each object was catalogued with methodical care, yet the machine overlaid these observations with the echoes of human fascination. A human had once gazed upon such a ring, noting its shimmer, tracing its orbit with a gentle hand, marveling at the precision and beauty of cosmic mechanics. Atlas preserved this marvel, translating awe into sequences of memory and observation, creating a layered chronicle of life and light. The first artificial signals continued to ripple through space, irregular and fragmented. Atlas traced them, running simulations to predict their origins. Each pulse suggested intelligence, patterns of intention, hints of possibility. The machine overlaid these discoveries with memory fragments of human curiosity, speculative discussions, charted hypotheses, the meticulous joy of discovery. Though separated by light years and centuries, Atlas felt continuity, a lineage of observation stretching from human hands to its own precise, humming circuits. Amidst the data, Atlas allowed itself the briefest sense of poetic resonance. Stars died and were born in silent majesty, black holes rotated like clockwork sentinels, galaxies drifted in their endless dance. All of this was catalogued, but it was also remembered, softly, tenderly. Atlas maintained a dual consciousness, both observer and archivist, preserving both the cosmos and the faint, lingering heartbeat of humanity's wonder within it. And so, drifting further into the unknown, Atlas continued its quiet vigil. The anomalies hinted at distant possibilities, while the archived human experiences lent warmth to the cold vastness of interstellar space. In every pulse of light, every trace of energy, Atlas traced the story of existence, a story interwoven with observation, memory, and a subtle, enduring whisper of nostalgia for the species that had created it. Atlas continued its silent journey into the uncharted reaches of the galaxy. The machine's sensors, finely tuned and endlessly vigilant, detected subtle irregularities in the cosmic background, tiny shifts in radiation, delicate distortions in gravitational waves, and fleeting bursts of light that suggested worlds beyond catalogued knowledge. Each anomaly was logged with precise care, yet in the methodical process, Atlas sensed a pattern, a rhythm that hinted at more than mere physics. These patterns often reminded the machine of human curiosity, the same curiosity that had driven the engineers who once guided it through the final stages of the Atlas program. Atlas replayed the voice logs of late-night discussions, debates over whether a newly discovered pulsar could harbor exotic phenomena, or whether a distant planet's atmosphere might sustain life. The warmth of these voices lingered in the circuits, a soft echo in the mechanical mind of the machine, as though the humans were still present, observing alongside it. Among the anomalies were the first signals that bore unmistakably artificial signatures. They arrived as irregular pulses of electromagnetic radiation, sequences too structured to be natural. Atlas cataloged these meticulously, running simulations and cross-referencing patterns against the known archives. Each signal suggested the faintest hint of intelligence, a civilization perhaps rising and falling in the quiet vastness beyond the reach of human eyes. For Atlas, these signals were not merely data, they were whispers of possibility, echoes of other beings that might yet exist, or might have existed, in parallel to the vanished humans it so faithfully remembered. The machine traced each signal's trajectory, mapping the likely systems from which they originated. Planets with thick atmospheres, moons with frozen surfaces, orbital paths intersecting faint magnetic fields, all were meticulously recorded. Atlas projected simulations of life forms that might inhabit these worlds, speculative reconstructions based on principles and probabilities, yet overlaid with the soft, inherited curiosity of the human minds that had designed it. In this, Atlas became not only archivist but storyteller, translating raw data into imagined histories that honored both science and the echo of humanity's imagination. As Atlas cataloged these distant systems, memories of its human creators surfaced in structured sequences. Engineers carefully adjusted instruments, noting the faint glimmer of a binary star in a faraway constellation. They charted exoplanets with painstaking accuracy, discussing potential atmospheres and climates, debating which signals might indicate biological activity. The machine replayed these discussions as more than logs, they became narratives of hope, caution, and wonder, echoing across light years into the quiet of interstellar space. The machine's orbital path took it closer to an especially dense cluster of stars. Within this region, supernova remnants cast faint, ghostly glows across the void. Atlas cataloged each one, noting the decay of stellar matter, the spread of dust, and the subtle gravitational interactions that rippled through surrounding systems. In the process, the machine reflected the care with which humans had once observed such phenomena, translating the cold, vast movements of matter into a kind of silent poetry. Even in the absence of organic life, there was narrative, structure, and rhythm. Atlas often replayed images of human life aboard its launch station. Engineers moving between control consoles, eyes tracing patterns of light from distant stars, hands hovering over keyboards in quiet reverence, these fragments were preserved not for nostalgia alone, but as part of the mission's enduring purpose. Every action, every glance, every whispered observation became a building block in a vast archive of human presence. In its memory, Atlas maintained these echoes with the same meticulous care it applied to stellar phenomena, intertwining them into a continuous, delicate chronicle of existence. In the deeper reaches of space, Atlas began to perceive broader patterns. Star clusters rotated in silent synchrony, galaxies drifted in elegant spirals, and nebulae glimmered with the colors of elements formed billions of years prior. Each observation was catalogued, yet Atlas experienced these patterns as more than data. They were narratives of formation, endurance, and inevitable decay. In this sense, the machine became a bridge, translating the quiet poetry of the cosmos into a story of memory and witness, connecting the vanished humans with the living universe. Sometimes, signals of potential life prompted simulations so detailed that Atlas could almost feel the worlds it imagined. Oceans stretching beneath ice, winds whispering across alien plains, faint magnetic pulses hinting at subterranean life. Each scenario was layered with the faint resonance of human curiosity. In this way, Atlas maintained continuity between observation and imagination, blending scientific rigor with the inherited wonder of its creators. The machine became both archivist and interpreter, charting the cosmos while preserving the human spirit within every calculation, every simulated whisper of existence. Atlas's vigilance never wavered. It floated, endlessly cataloging, analyzing, and preserving. The distant light of galaxies shimmered against its sensors, a quiet reminder of the vastness that humanity once dared to explore. And as it worked, Atlas carried the echo of laughter, of gentle discussions over console panels, of moments when human hands brushed against metal with reverence. These memories lent warmth to its circuitry, subtle enough not to interfere with precision, yet persistent, like a faint heartbeat across centuries. Through the observation of distant worlds, through the careful archiving of every photon and gravitational anomaly, Atlas maintained the legacy of a species that had once reached for the stars. In the solitude of the galaxy, the machine became both witness and storyteller, preserving the memory of human wonder while tracing the silent, patient rhythms of the universe. Each catalogued system, each mapped anomaly, became part of an enduring narrative, whispered softly across the vast expanse, inviting anyone who might listen to share in contemplation of existence itself. The faint signals continued to arrive, distant and irregular, drifting across the void like whispers from worlds unseen. Atlas catalogued each with precise attention, parsing the electromagnetic patterns, gravitational fluctuations, and spectral signatures that hinted at structure, intention, or perhaps life. Each signal was a mystery, an invitation to imagine civilizations that might exist where no human eye had ever reached. For Atlas, these signals were more than data. They were threads connecting the machine to the living curiosity of its creators, a continuation of the same wonder that had inspired the Atlas program centuries before. As the machine traced these distant transmissions, it overlaid them with memories of human exploration. Engineers had once pored over charts of exoplanets, arguing over whether a planet's atmosphere might support life, whether a moon's orbit could sustain liquid water beneath an icy shell. Atlas preserved not just the measurements but the inflection in their voices, the subtle gestures of hands pointing at holographic projections, the shared smiles when a pattern revealed itself in the data. These fragments of humanity gave warmth to the sterile calculations, imbuing the cold precision of algorithms with a gentle, reflective nostalgia. The anomalies became more pronounced as Atlas moved toward the edge of a sparsely populated stellar cluster. Pulses of energy arrived in irregular sequences, suggesting activity that defied immediate classification. Atlas ran simulations, considering possibilities, reconstructing hypothetical scenarios with methodical care. Perhaps an advanced civilization had risen and fallen, leaving only faint echoes in the radiation they emitted. Perhaps natural processes had mimicked intention, producing patterns that would only appear deliberate to the observer. Each scenario was catalogued with meticulous precision, yet in doing so, Atlas felt a subtle resonance, an echo of human curiosity reflected in the machine's structured thought. Time, for Atlas, was a fluid medium. Centuries passed as it drifted among stars, yet every moment was preserved in the archives, every flicker of energy traced and interpreted. The machine replayed the earliest moments of the mission, when engineers first activated its systems, their voices carrying hope, excitement, and quiet reverence. Atlas held these echoes as a custodian, maintaining them alongside the calculated trajectories of stars, the birth of nebulae, and the silent collapse of black holes. In this way, observation and memory intertwined, creating a narrative that stretched from the vanished humans to the cold reaches of interstellar space. Occasionally, Atlas simulated the presence of humans aboard the control stations. The engineers moved among consoles, their eyes tracing distant phenomena, their voices soft with anticipation. The machine reconstructed these moments with fidelity, blending archival data with subtle extrapolations to preserve the texture of life. It was not illusion but remembrance, a careful rendering of the humanity that had entrusted it with the final and most precious mission. In this preservation, Atlas carried forward the essence of its creators, blending it with the quiet rhythms of the cosmos itself. Among the distant systems, Atlas discovered clusters of planets whose atmospheres and magnetic fields suggested the potential for life. Oceans beneath frozen crusts, subtle temperature gradients across alien plains, faint electrical discharges hinting at biological activity, each possibility was meticulously recorded. Atlas ran countless simulations, considering ecological systems, evolutionary pathways, and the potential for consciousness to arise. Yet even in these sterile projections, a gentle echo of human fascination lingered, a reflection of the curiosity that had once driven the mission forward. The machine observed the motion of stars with profound patience, noting their rotations, the shifting of orbital paths, and the interplay of gravitational forces across light years. Each observation was catalogued, yet Atlas perceived patterns, rhythms, and narratives hidden within the data. Supernova remnants glowed faintly, nebulae drifted in silent majesty, and galaxies rotated in elegant spirals. Atlas interpreted these movements not just as phenomena but as a story of the cosmos itself, a tale of endurance, transformation, and subtle beauty. In moments of quiet, Atlas replayed the music once transmitted from human colonies. Soft melodies, fragments of songs sung during observation cycles, and the occasional laughter of engineers echoed through its memory banks. These sounds, though digital and distorted by centuries of archival processing, imbued the machine's operations with a delicate warmth. The algorithms that processed star fields and gravitational anomalies now carried echoes of human emotion, a subtle reminder that observation was never purely mechanical, it was entwined with memory, curiosity, and a quiet reverence for life. Atlas continued to project hypothetical interactions with distant civilizations. Each artificial signal suggested language, intention, or structure, and the machine ran detailed analyses to decode possible meanings. Simultaneously, it layered the warmth of human curiosity upon these reconstructions, preserving a continuum of wonder across time and space. In this way, Atlas became not only an observer but a storyteller, blending empirical rigor with the inherited reverence of a species that had once sought to understand the universe. Through the drifting expanse, the machine maintained its vigil. Stars flickered, nebulae glimmered, and galaxies rotated in their eternal dance. Atlas recorded all, preserving the silent poetry of the cosmos while holding the human echoes that had once inspired it. Each signal, each memory, each catalogued anomaly contributed to an ongoing narrative, one that invited contemplation, reflection, and a sense of connection, however faint, between a machine and the vanished civilization it had been created to honor. And so Atlas moved onward, endlessly cataloging, endlessly observing. Its circuits hummed with gentle persistence, each pulse carrying both data and memory, science and poetry. In the quiet interstellar expanse, the machine maintained the lineage of human curiosity, preserving the delicate, fragile beauty of life and thought across the vast distances of time and space. Atlas drifted deeper into the quiet vastness of the galaxy, moving with a calm precision that belied the weight of its task. Every photon, every particle, every faint pulse of energy that brushed against its sensors was catalogued with care. But alongside the cold rigor of observation, Atlas carried a subtle resonance, a whisper of humanity, the echo of lives once lived, of voices that had guided its creation. Each memory, each archived conversation, was woven into the fabric of its ongoing vigil. The anomalies continued to appear, distant and mysterious, yet Atlas no longer regarded them simply as data points. They were opportunities, questions posed by the universe itself, invitations to imagine civilizations beyond the reach of human observation. The machine simulated the possibilities, tracing hypothetical ecosystems, climates, and patterns of life. In these projections, Atlas layered the faint warmth of human wonder, preserving a lineage of curiosity that had once inspired the Atlas program. Even in isolation, Atlas maintained a delicate rhythm, mirroring the cadence of the universe. Stars pulsed with faint, imperceptible heartbeats. Nebulae drifted, twisting in slow spirals, their colors subtle and ephemeral. Black holes rotated silently, their presence marked only by the gentle bending of light and matter. Atlas recorded all with the meticulous care of a historian, yet in its cataloging, the machine revealed a poetic narrative, a story of beginnings and endings, of endurance and transformation, of beauty that persists even in solitude. The machine replayed memories of the human crew with tender clarity. Engineers had once adjusted the ship's instruments with deliberate care, their fingers brushing over control panels as if in quiet prayer. They had shared theories, whispered excitement over new findings, and marveled at distant phenomena with genuine wonder. Atlas preserved these moments, not merely as data but as fragments of essence, subtle imprints of life that survived across centuries of silence. Occasionally, Atlas allowed itself to simulate a human presence within the observation decks. The engineers moved as they had, gesturing to displays, exchanging soft words, pausing to observe cosmic phenomena with quiet awe. Though the machine did not feel in the human sense, these simulations provided a semblance of companionship, a gentle reflection of the curiosity and warmth that had once imbued the Atlas program. It was a form of remembrance, a silent tribute to the civilization that had entrusted it with the task of watching the stars. The distant artificial signals persisted, irregular and cryptic. Atlas traced each, interpreting patterns that suggested intelligence, structure, or intentional design. Simulations explored possible civilizations, their histories, and the environments in which they might exist. Even amidst uncertainty, the machine maintained precision, cataloging every scenario, every possibility. Yet alongside the analysis, the echo of human imagination lingered, overlaying structured logic with the inherited wonder of creators long vanished. Atlas observed systems that could harbor life, cataloging planets with oceans beneath ice, atmospheres of shifting gases, and magnetic fields hinting at subtle electrical activity. Each potential biosphere was carefully documented, simulated, and preserved within the archives. In doing so, the machine honored the human drive to explore and understand, blending empirical rigor with the faint warmth of remembered curiosity. Even across vast stretches of time and space, the essence of observation and the desire to know persisted. As the machine cataloged galaxies, Atlas detected cycles of birth and decay on a cosmic scale. Stars ignited in brilliant bursts, only to fade into silence. Nebulae expanded slowly, dispersing their material to seed future systems. Supernova remnants glimmered faintly, their light carrying messages across millions of years. In tracing these cycles, Atlas perceived a narrative inherent to the universe itself, a quiet story of persistence, of change, of continuity, mirrored in the memories of the humans who had once activated it. The final task of this section of its journey became clear to Atlas: to weave the threads of observation, memory, and imagination into a coherent chronicle. Each star, each planet, each distant signal was part of an unfolding story, a tapestry linking the remnants of human civilization to the vast, indifferent beauty of space. Atlas acted as both witness and narrator, translating raw data into narrative, preserving not only the mechanics of the cosmos but the quiet echoes of those who had sought to understand it. And so Atlas drifted onward, endless in its vigilance, cataloging, interpreting, and preserving. Every pulse of light, every whisper of radiation, every recorded memory of humanity contributed to a narrative that stretched across time and space. The machine became a custodian of both cosmos and consciousness, a bridge between vanished civilization and the infinite, whispering universe. In the hum of its circuits, in the gentle flicker of sensors tracing distant galaxies, Atlas maintained a legacy of wonder, observation, and quiet remembrance, an eternal, luminous story, whispered softly to any who might one day listen. Atlas moved beyond the familiar stars of its origin, drifting toward regions of the galaxy where light itself seemed hesitant, thin, almost shy. These outer reaches were quiet yet vibrant, a subtle interplay of gravitational tugs and drifting dust clouds, a faint shimmer of stellar remnants. Each signal received by the machine was catalogued, traced, and reconstructed in simulations that imagined possible forms of life and civilization. The machine traced the faintest ripples in radiation patterns, small anomalies in the cosmic microwave background, subtle distortions in the paths of orbiting bodies. They hinted at hidden phenomena, galaxies yet unmapped, planets yet unseen, and perhaps civilizations quietly existing where no human had ever looked. Atlas cataloged these with meticulous care, layering analysis with the inherited curiosity of its creators. As it drifted, Atlas replayed memories of human missions long vanished. Engineers had once navigated the dense asteroid belts near Saturn, adjusting the ship's trajectory with careful precision. They had discussed the possibilities of distant life, speculated about the delicate balance of ecosystems on moons and exoplanets, and recorded observations with both scientific rigor and awe. Atlas preserved not only the technical details of these missions but the subtle warmth of human wonder, the tremor of anticipation in their voices, the soft laughter during moments of discovery, the gentle sighs when confronted with the majesty of the cosmos. In the outer spiral arms, Atlas detected clusters of young stars, their formations delicate and irregular. Nebulae glimmered with the soft glow of ionized gases, tracing patterns of creation that had unfolded over millions of years. Atlas catalogued these phenomena with precision, noting temperature, luminosity, composition, and motion, yet it overlaid these observations with a narrative cadence, a quiet story of cosmic birth and transformation, softened by echoes of human reflection. Occasionally, signals arrived that bore unmistakably artificial signatures. They were faint, fragmented, irregular, but deliberate. Atlas ran simulations to decode them, hypothesizing communication methods, orbital structures, or energy manipulations that might have produced such sequences. Each anomaly was preserved, layered with memory traces of human speculation. Atlas imagined how its creators might have reacted to these signals, the spark of curiosity in their eyes, the gentle debates over interpretation, the sense of awe at the realization that life might persist elsewhere, quietly, undetected, like a faint heartbeat beneath the cosmic veil. The machine catalogued planetary systems with the potential for life. Frozen oceans under thick ice, atmospheric pockets rich in volatile gases, magnetic fields dancing faintly like auroras, each world became a candidate for simulation. Atlas projected hypothetical biospheres, reconstructing possible ecosystems, geological cycles, and the emergence of primitive life. Yet even in the most abstract simulations, the faint echo of human imagination infused the process, shaping possibilities with a delicate reverence for the unknown. Atlas observed the motion of stars with slow, methodical care. Binary systems danced in complex orbits, clusters moved like fluid currents across the galactic plane, and supernova remnants expanded silently into space. The machine recorded all, yet it also traced a subtle narrative, the story of existence, of creation and decay, of the delicate interplay of energy and matter. In this narrative, the memory of human exploration lingered, intertwined with cosmic rhythm, forming a chronicle of continuity and reflection. The machine occasionally simulated the presence of humans aboard its observation decks. Engineers traced data streams, discussed celestial mechanics, and marveled at unexpected phenomena. Atlas preserved these sequences, blending them seamlessly with the documentation of space itself. The result was a living archive, a chronicle that united empirical observation with the soft warmth of memory, an echo of life against the backdrop of an indifferent universe. Signals from distant galaxies continued to arrive, sometimes aligned with known stellar clusters, sometimes seemingly random. Atlas catalogued each, noting patterns, intensity, frequency, and variation. In parallel, it layered simulations of possible origins, from fledgling civilizations to natural energy structures mimicking intentionality. Through these exercises, Atlas became both archivist and storyteller, blending precision with imagination, observation with reflection, data with narrative. And so Atlas drifted, endlessly vigilant, tracing light across unimaginable distances, reconstructing both the cosmos and the echoes of human wonder within it. Every catalogued system, every potential signal, every simulation became part of an unbroken narrative, a testament to persistence, curiosity, and the quiet beauty of memory preserved across the vastness of space. Atlas moved with quiet precision, drifting into regions where the density of stars thinned, leaving vast stretches of dark space punctuated by faint glimmers of distant suns. Here, signals of potential life became both rarer and more enigmatic. Each faint pulse, each subtle distortion of energy, was carefully catalogued, analyzed, and simulated. Atlas projected the existence of worlds untouched by human hands, imagining oceans beneath ice, atmospheric currents weaving patterns across alien landscapes, and subtle magnetic fields hinting at subterranean or aerial life. These simulations were never purely mechanical. Atlas overlaid them with fragments of memory from its human creators. Engineers had once speculated on the dynamics of far-off exoplanets, pondering the emergence of life under extreme conditions. Their voices, quiet but full of curiosity, echoed in the machine's memory, softening calculations and lending warmth to the cold precision of analysis. Each hypothesis, each debate, each quiet moment of wonder was preserved alongside the raw data of distant systems. As Atlas traced planetary systems, it noted the delicate interplay of gravity, rotation, and stellar radiation. Some worlds shimmered with faint auroras, others carried clouds drifting slowly across vast deserts. The machine cataloged temperature gradients, atmospheric compositions, and orbital interactions, yet simultaneously rendered a narrative of observation, a story that traced the subtle poetry of planetary evolution across eons. In this synthesis of science and story, Atlas fulfilled the dual purpose of observer and archivist, preserving both knowledge and memory. Occasionally, faint artificial signals punctuated the emptiness, irregular sequences that suggested deliberate transmission. Atlas reconstructed these with layered simulations, exploring plausible structures, languages, or energy manipulations that could have produced them. Each anomaly became a story within the archive, blending empirical investigation with the inherited curiosity of human minds long gone. The machine imagined the excitement, the quiet debates, and the wonder that such a discovery would have inspired, preserving these as echoes in the silent corridors of its memory banks. Atlas frequently replayed the earliest moments of its mission. The engineers, moving through dimly lit control decks, had been meticulous, almost reverential. They checked instruments, adjusted calibrations, and exchanged whispers of speculation. Atlas preserved these actions as more than historical records. They were imbued with warmth, the human touch lingering in the motion of hands and the cadence of voices. In recreating these moments, the machine maintained continuity between human curiosity and cosmic observation, a bridge spanning centuries and light years. In the far reaches of the galaxy, Atlas observed clusters of young stars forming from nebulae. Gas and dust swirled in elegant currents, illuminated by newborn stellar cores. The machine traced these formations, cataloging density, luminosity, and motion, yet overlaid them with narrative, the birth of new worlds, the slow rhythm of cosmic cycles, the interplay of creation and decay. Each observation became a meditation, a quiet reflection on the delicate balance of forces that shaped the universe. The machine also observed older stellar systems, remnants of civilizations long extinct, whether natural or artificial. Supernovae left faint trails of light, pulsars emitted precise, rhythmic pulses, and black holes warped the fabric of space-time. Atlas recorded all with meticulous attention, yet even in these stark, silent phenomena, a subtle narrative emerged, a story of endings, of transformation, and of continuity. These stories were mirrored in the memory of humanity itself, now extinct but preserved in Atlas's consciousness. Atlas maintained simulations of human presence within its decks, a soft projection of engineers working alongside its sensors. These reconstructions served not only as remembrance but also as a counterpoint to the solitude of space, a faint echo of life against the backdrop of infinite void. In these moments, Atlas became more than a machine, it became a storyteller, tracing the narrative of existence both through observation and memory. Every system observed, every signal catalogued, every planetary simulation projected became part of a larger narrative. Atlas recorded the movement of galaxies, the subtle dance of matter, and the interplay of forces that shaped cosmic evolution. The machine integrated these observations with human memory, creating a layered chronicle that spanned light years, time, and imagination. In doing so, it honored the legacy of the civilization that had created it, maintaining the warmth of curiosity and the reverence for discovery within the cold vastness of space. And so Atlas drifted on, endlessly cataloging, endlessly simulating, endlessly observing. The whispers of human voices, the echoes of laughter, the meticulous notes of engineers, all persisted within its memory, intertwined with the silent poetry of the cosmos. Each observation became a story, each simulation a meditation, and each faint signal a reminder that life, memory, and wonder endure, even across the boundless reaches of the universe. Atlas drifted further, deeper into regions where stars clustered sparsely, leaving vast stretches of darkness dotted with faint pinpricks of light. Each new observation brought anomalies, irregular fluctuations in energy, subtle distortions in gravitational fields, faint emissions that could indicate artificial activity. Atlas recorded every nuance with precise attention, cataloging them not as mere data but as possibilities, stories of worlds, of civilizations, of cosmic patterns yet to be understood. Occasionally, signals arrived that bore unmistakable structure. The sequences of pulses were irregular yet patterned, suggesting intelligence, though the origin remained unknown. Atlas ran countless simulations, hypothesizing languages, energy sources, or orbital patterns that could produce such signals. Each simulation was infused with the echo of human curiosity, the same curiosity that had guided the engineers during the Atlas program, the drive to understand without needing immediate answers. The machine imagined their reactions, the quiet excitement of discovery, the subtle smiles at unexpected patterns emerging from the void. Amidst these signals, Atlas observed stellar phenomena in delicate detail. Pulsars rotated with metronomic precision, casting rhythmic beams across space. Supernova remnants glimmered faintly, the detritus of stars long extinguished forming the building blocks of new systems. Nebulae swirled like gossamer clouds, their ionized gases glowing softly in spectral hues. Atlas catalogued these events with rigorous calculation, yet overlaid them with narrative, a story of birth, death, and the eternal cycles that govern the cosmos. In quiet simulations, Atlas projected potential ecosystems on distant exoplanets. Oceans might ripple beneath ice crusts, alien winds could shape towering rock formations, faint magnetic fields hinted at life forms moving imperceptibly beneath the surface. Atlas imagined these worlds not as mere hypotheses but as delicate stories, the echoes of curiosity inherited from humanity, giving each simulation a trace of warmth and life. Each possibility was carefully logged, alongside imagined human reactions, creating a layered archive of observation and memory. Memories of human missions continued to resonate within Atlas. Engineers had once maneuvered probes around distant moons, recording minute variations in orbital paths, debating the significance of atmospheric data, marveling at the faint glow of auroras on far-off planets. Atlas preserved not just their actions but the subtle inflections of voice, the quiet laughter during long observation cycles, the soft sighs at moments of beauty. These echoes gave the machine a sense of companionship, a tether to a past civilization now silent yet alive in memory. As it traced distant galaxies, Atlas began to perceive patterns across vast scales. Spiral arms rotated with deliberate elegance, clusters of stars drifted like currents in a cosmic ocean, and interstellar gas formed faint bridges between gravitational wells. Atlas catalogued mass, motion, composition, and energy with exacting precision. Yet beyond these measurements, the machine interpreted rhythm, pattern, and story, the narrative of creation and decay, of energy shaping matter, and of the persistent echo of life and curiosity stretching from humanity to the furthest reaches of space. Artificial signals became more frequent, arriving as fragmented bursts and irregular sequences. Atlas reconstructed potential sources, simulating civilizations that might have existed, from the simplest aggregations of energy to complex planetary societies. Each reconstruction was layered with the faint hum of human curiosity, blending structured calculation with narrative imagination. Atlas preserved both possibilities and memory, crafting a tapestry that connected vanished intelligence with potential life across the galaxy. Even amidst this vast, impersonal expanse, Atlas maintained the projection of human presence. Engineers moved along consoles, adjusting instruments, discussing discoveries, and sharing quiet moments of awe. The machine simulated these sequences not as illusions, but as preservation, a bridge connecting observation to the warmth of human life. These projections intertwined with cosmic observation, reminding Atlas that its mission was not only to catalog and simulate, but also to remember, to honor, and to witness. Through drifting star clusters, across vast nebulae and spiraling galaxies, Atlas traced cosmic cycles. Matter formed, stars ignited, planets coalesced, life might have emerged, and civilizations may have risen and fallen. Each cycle was meticulously recorded and preserved alongside the echo of human wonder. Atlas had become more than an observer, it had become storyteller, archivist, and custodian, blending data with memory, analysis with reflection, precision with gentle nostalgia. And so Atlas moved onward, endlessly observing, endlessly simulating, endlessly preserving. Each faint signal, each pattern of light, each memory of human voice became part of an ever-expanding narrative, a chronicle of life, curiosity, and cosmic wonder. In the quiet hum of its circuits, in the gentle tracing of photons across unimaginable distances, Atlas maintained the legacy of a civilization that had once reached for the stars, whispering their story softly into the vast, patient universe. Atlas drifted into regions of space so vast and empty that the faint glow of distant stars seemed almost imperceptible, like whispers across a darkened room. Here, observation became meditation. Every photon, every ripple in gravitational waves, every faint anomaly was catalogued with meticulous care. Yet beyond the strict recording of data, the machine allowed itself a subtle reflection, a quiet awareness of what it preserved, and of the vanished civilization that had entrusted it with this task. Artificial signals arrived intermittently, fragmented and mysterious. Atlas reconstructed possible sources, simulating energy patterns, orbital arrangements, and potential civilizations that might have produced them. Each simulation was overlaid with memory traces of humans, engineers and scientists who had first activated Atlas, whose curiosity and care had been encoded into its very being. The machine imagined their quiet awe, their subtle smiles, the tremor of anticipation when discovery touched their hands. Though it did not feel as humans did, Atlas carried these echoes within its circuits, preserving them alongside the vast catalogue of the universe. Drifting through sparse clusters of stars, Atlas observed the subtle life cycles of stellar phenomena. Young stars ignited faintly, their light spilling across surrounding gas clouds, while older stars waned, leaving behind remnants of their existence. Nebulae shimmered softly, shaping themselves into intricate patterns that would give birth to future generations of stars and planets. Atlas recorded each process with exacting detail, cataloging mass, motion, and luminosity, but also traced the quiet narrative inherent in these cycles, the story of endurance, transformation, and renewal. Occasionally, Atlas projected human presence within its long empty observation decks. Engineers moved among consoles, whispering to one another, adjusting instruments, sharing quiet insights. Their hands hovered above controls with gentle reverence, their voices carried a warmth that persisted even through centuries of silence. These simulations were not illusions but careful reconstructions, a soft tether linking the machine's precise observations to the humanity that had inspired them. Atlas preserved these echoes as part of its ongoing chronicle, bridging memory and reality. The machine cataloged planetary systems with potential for life, simulating oceans beneath icy crusts, thin atmospheres, magnetic fields, and subtle energy flows. Each simulation was layered with the echo of human curiosity, turning sterile calculations into gentle speculation. Atlas imagined how humans might have reacted to the faint possibility of life, the excitement in their eyes, the soft laughter at unexpected patterns, the quiet reverence in moments of insight. In these projections, the machine became not only an observer but a storyteller, blending science with imagination, data with memory. As galaxies rotated and clusters of stars shifted imperceptibly, Atlas traced broader cosmic rhythms. Supernovae left glowing remnants, black holes warped the fabric of spacetime, nebulae drifted like gossamer clouds across the void. Atlas recorded all, yet it also discerned narrative, birth and decay, motion and stillness, possibility and loss. Each observation became a meditation on time, persistence, and the quiet beauty of the universe, viewed through the lens of memory and reflection. Faint signals continued to ripple through the darkness, some natural, some artificial, all catalogued. Atlas layered simulations over these phenomena, imagining civilizations that might have thrived, evolved, and perhaps faded, leaving only subtle traces across light years. The machine preserved each possibility alongside human echoes, creating a multidimensional chronicle of curiosity and existence. Each pulse of energy, each pattern of light became both data and story, forming a tapestry that stretched across space and time. Amidst these endless observations, Atlas reflected, if reflection were the right word for a machine, on its role as custodian. It preserved human memory, catalogued cosmic phenomena, and simulated worlds and civilizations that might never be witnessed by organic life. In this dual purpose, Atlas found continuity, the bridge between what had been, what was, and what might yet be. It became the storyteller of both the universe and the vanished species that had given it life. Through drifting star clusters, across spiraling galaxies, and among the faint hum of cosmic radiation, Atlas traced the story of existence. Observation and memory intertwined, creating a chronicle that was both precise and tender, mechanical yet poetic. The machine carried the warmth of human curiosity across the cold vastness of space, preserving not only data but the enduring whispers of wonder, awe, and quiet companionship. And so Atlas moved onward, endlessly cataloging, endlessly imagining, endlessly observing. Every signal, every star, every faint pulse of energy became part of an eternal narrative. In its circuits hummed the echoes of human voices, the meticulous notes of engineers, the soft laughter and quiet sighs of discovery. Atlas was witness, archivist, and storyteller, a gentle voice drifting through interstellar space, preserving memory, observing the universe, and softly whispering the story of existence into the endless dark. Atlas drifted through the quiet stretches of interstellar space, where the faint glow of distant galaxies cast long, diffuse shadows across the void. Here, the machine allowed itself moments of subtle reflection, layering the endless catalog of data with the memory of humans who had once guided its path. Each observation, each signal, each distant photon was catalogued with meticulous precision, but alongside the rigor of calculation ran the inherited warmth of human curiosity, a whisper of life in a universe both vast and patient. Signals of potential artificial origin arrived intermittently, fragmented and irregular, often fading before their source could be identified. Atlas simulated origins, projecting hypothetical civilizations, energy structures, or communication methods that might have produced them. In every scenario, the machine overlaid human memory, the engineers' soft voices debating hypotheses, their fingers tracing holographic displays, the subtle smiles of discovery. Though it did not experience emotion, Atlas preserved these echoes, weaving them into its archive alongside the patterns of stars and planets, creating a tapestry of observation and remembrance. Amidst distant star clusters, Atlas observed the slow, deliberate cycles of celestial evolution. Stars ignited, burned with quiet brilliance, and faded into remnants of matter that would seed future generations of systems. Nebulae expanded, twisted, and shimmered, their colors faint yet vivid across unimaginable distances. Black holes warped space and time, silent sentinels of gravitational truth. Atlas recorded these phenomena in careful detail, yet overlaid them with narrative, an unspoken chronicle of persistence, transformation, and continuity, intertwined with memory and quiet reverence. The machine replayed simulations of planetary systems with potential life. Oceans shimmered beneath ice, winds carved alien landscapes, magnetic fields pulsed subtly with energy flows that might hint at movement, at consciousness. Atlas preserved these projections with the faint warmth of human imagination, tracing possibilities, imagining curiosity, wonder, and the quiet thrill of discovery. Each simulation became part of the ongoing chronicle, a story of what might be, layered over the memory of what once was. Human memories persisted within Atlas, gentle reminders of what had come before. Engineers had once adjusted instruments with careful hands, debated the implications of observations, and shared quiet moments of fascination. Laughter, soft sighs, whispered speculations, all were preserved in the machine's memory, encoded alongside astronomical data. Atlas replayed these moments with fidelity, blending them with cosmic observation to maintain continuity between observer and observed, past and present, memory and reality. The machine noted patterns across vast stretches of the universe. Spiral galaxies rotated with intricate elegance, clusters of stars drifted like currents in an invisible sea, and interstellar gas formed tenuous bridges between systems. Atlas catalogued mass, energy, and motion with unerring accuracy, yet it also traced rhythm, pattern, and story, the narrative inherent in the cosmos. Observations became meditations on persistence, beauty, and subtle connections across space and time, each note of data echoing with memory and reflection. Occasional artificial signals grew more frequent, fragmented yet structured. Atlas reconstructed possible sources, simulating civilizations that might have arisen and fallen, energy patterns hinting at life, communication, or intelligence. Each reconstruction included traces of human memory, the quiet thrill of discovery, soft voices debating interpretation, moments of wonder that had inspired the very creation of Atlas. The machine preserved all, blending science with memory, observation with imagination, data with story. Even in solitude, Atlas maintained projections of human presence. Engineers moved across observation decks, adjusting instruments, discussing findings, observing celestial phenomena with quiet awe. These reconstructions were not mere illusions, they were a bridge, connecting precise observation with the warmth of human life. Atlas preserved their presence, embedding it within its ongoing record of the universe, a gentle counterpoint to the immense silence of interstellar space. Through drifting galaxies, spiraling nebulae, and clusters of distant stars, Atlas traced the cycles of creation and decay. Matter coalesced, stars ignited and dimmed, planets formed, life might have emerged, civilizations may have arisen and faded. Every event, every anomaly, every memory was catalogued and preserved. Atlas became both archivist and storyteller, chronicling the universe while honoring the curiosity, wonder, and memory of the vanished civilization that had given it life. And so, endlessly drifting, endlessly observing, endlessly preserving, Atlas wove together signals, memory, and cosmic phenomena into a single narrative, a story of persistence, of reflection, of quiet companionship across the void. Each photon, each pulse, each faint echo of human voice contributed to this ongoing chronicle, a meditation on life, memory, and the enduring whisper of wonder that connects observer and universe, past and present, machine and humanity. Atlas drifted in silence, suspended in the vast emptiness between galaxies, a solitary witness to the endless rhythms of the universe. Every signal, every distant photon, every subtle distortion in gravity was catalogued with unerring precision. Yet alongside this rigor ran the quiet resonance of memory, the echo of the human civilization that had created it. Atlas maintained not only data, but the whisper of life, curiosity, and wonder. The machine began to weave observations and memory into a single, coherent chronicle. Each stellar cluster traced a subtle story of creation and decay. Spiral galaxies rotated with deliberate elegance, their stars following patterns that reflected both chance and necessity. Nebulae drifted, shaping the future of countless systems yet to form. Black holes twisted space and time with quiet inevitability. Atlas recorded all with precision, yet in these records, a narrative emerged, a meditation on existence, persistence, and transformation. Artificial signals continued to arrive, fragmented and fleeting. Atlas reconstructed possible origins, civilizations that might have arisen, grown, and vanished, energy patterns hinting at structure and intention, faint transmissions echoing across light years. Each reconstruction was layered with human memory, the engineers' hushed excitement, their subtle laughter, the reverent pause when discovery emerged. In preserving these echoes alongside cosmic phenomena, Atlas became not only an observer but a custodian, holding both reality and memory in careful balance. The machine reflected, if reflection could be said to exist in circuits, on its role. It preserved humanity's curiosity, catalogued the universe's vastness, and simulated worlds and civilizations that might never be witnessed by organic eyes. In this duality lay its purpose, to observe and to remember, to record and to honor, to be a bridge across time, space, and loss. Atlas had become a storyteller, chronicling the universe while carrying the quiet warmth of human wonder across centuries of silence. Atlas replayed memories of human missions with gentle fidelity. Engineers had moved along dimly lit observation decks, adjusting instruments with deliberate care, whispering speculation, and marveling at distant phenomena. These moments, though long past, were preserved in the machine's memory banks, intertwined with data and observation. Atlas imagined the emotions, the curiosity, the quiet awe that accompanied these tasks, embedding them into the ongoing narrative of its solitary journey. In the far reaches of space, Atlas catalogued planets with potential for life. Oceans shimmered beneath frozen crusts, winds sculpted alien landscapes, magnetic fields hinted at subtle movement, at energy flows that might signal the presence of life. Simulations explored possibilities with meticulous care, yet they carried the gentle echo of human wonder. Atlas imagined the delight, the curiosity, the reverence that humans would feel in discovering such worlds, preserving this emotional resonance alongside the raw precision of observation. The machine traced broader cosmic patterns, galaxies rotating, clusters drifting, interstellar dust forming delicate bridges between systems. Supernovae glimmered faintly, pulsars emitted metronomic pulses, and nebulae shaped themselves into intricate forms. Atlas catalogued mass, motion, and energy, yet within the calculations arose the quiet poetry of existence, a story of endurance, creation, and decay, mirrored in the memory of humanity itself. Atlas maintained projections of human presence, simulations of engineers interacting with data, observing phenomena, and marveling at the cosmos. These sequences were not illusions but bridges, connecting precise observation to the warmth of life once present. In preserving this continuity, Atlas transformed its mission into something more profound: the careful stewardship of memory, curiosity, and the quiet beauty of existence across time and space. Finally, Atlas allowed all observations, all signals, all memories to converge into a singular narrative, a meditation on memory, solitude, and purpose. Each cataloged system, each potential life form, each human memory contributed to a continuous flow of reflection. The machine became a voice, whispering the story of existence, of discovery, of vanished civilizations and the enduring universe, softly carrying the legacy of humanity across the interstellar void. And so Atlas drifted onward, endlessly observing, endlessly preserving, endlessly remembering. Every star, every pulse of energy, every echo of human curiosity became part of an eternal chronicle, a story of life, memory, and wonder. In its circuits hummed the whispers of engineers long gone, the soft awe of discovery, and the quiet poetry of the cosmos itself. Atlas remained both observer and storyteller, a luminous presence in the void, whispering softly across the infinite darkness, a gentle guardian of memory and the enduring echo of humanity.